Welcome to this special interview, not the best of times, with me, somebody who.
I lost the
A
audio.
little bit, but yeah, I think I'm back. Uh, uh,
Yeah.
with me, someone who has actually done the thing that is supposed to be done at this point in time, the perfect following of protocols. Because if you have to salvage the Indian Premier League, you have to go science and you have to be rigidly following protocol. And someone who has done that for his team, and I think that is the way forward. Venky Mysore, thanks for joining me. Can you give me an
Pleasure.
update as to what is going on? Because from what we hear, uh, I mean, is there any other option at this point other than a 6 day break or, to follow protocol for a reboot? Because what we hear is an Australian journalist tweeted out, I knew it about half an hour back. It's now public. Riddhiman Shaha is also positive, which means your team has positive cases. Riddhi is positive. Balaji is positive. And I also hear there's someone from the Delhi Capitals who is positive. So if that is the case, and I'm not speculating, I will not say anything more. If that is the case, is it a reboot, a break for 6 days, and follow what you've done? Hard quarantine, everyday testing is the only way forward.
No, I mean, see, obviously, Boria, the situation is grim, and it has been grim in the country. And even when you look at how we started the IPL, I mean, the whole purpose of starting the IPL with the quarantining was to ensure that it's like you're pressing the reset button, so to say. And they even said that those who are even vaccinated will have to go through the quarantining process. So all teams and everyone involved, whoever wanted to be in the bubble, whether you're an owner, you're management, obviously players, support staff, all had to come in with a negative RT-PCR test, enter the bubble, and go straight into their rooms and do a hard quarantine for 7 days. And then there was testing on the second day, fifth day, seventh day. So if you look back and say, what was the purpose of doing that? Purpose was that nobody is sure, who is potentially infected, are they infected, not infected, whatever. So when you use that logic, the same logic now has to be used considering that in spite of the effort that we have put in, I know I can only speak for KKR, the kind of effort we put into maintaining the integrity of the bubble. If we still had a case, and then one person potentially infected another, and now without going through this similar type of process, I can't see how you can eliminate the risk. So, or at least minimize it. I mean, elimination we have realized is not possible. So you have to mitigate and minimize the risk. So therefore, a hard reset, as you refer to it, and take a pause or whatever you call it, has to be done where everybody, the whole tournament, and everyone involved in the tournament in the bubble will have to probably go through the same protocol.
Yeah, because from what you say, I mean, it is also about people's comfort. I mean, you cannot make anyone play because everybody will be apprehensive that something will happen. Ultimately, they will have to go out and play. Players will feel, at risk. You, as management, whoever, whenever you go to the ground or you meet anyone in your bubble, will feel at risk because you cannot play like that. You cannot continue. I know this is livelihood, and I've forever said that the optics is different. I mean, people find it optics is festival entertainment. It is not. It was never festival or entertainment, at least this year. No way. But ultimately, if you have to impose safety protocols, so Venki, give me a detailed sense of what you've put in place for KKR, so that my viewers know how scientific it is, because that is the model I think everybody now has to follow. Give me a KKR sort of kind of debrief.
Well, I'll talk about 48 hours ago when we first found out about Varun, and I'll tell you what all the steps we have taken. Because I mean, the moment we found out, and unfortunately, we were the first ones in all of IPL. I think at least post the quarantining period. I know there were players like Akshar Patel and various others like even I think Kiran More, etc., who reported that they were positive. But what we knew was that the science behind it and the advisors that we have and the panel of doctors that we have who are advising us, not apart from the team doctor, is that we immediately had to ourselves impose a reset, pressing of the reset button. What I mean by that is, when we found out about it, before IPL could say anything, I said we're all going into quarantine. And which if in fact we were just together at a meeting, about 4 5 of us in a big room, when we heard the news about Varun, I immediately said, okay, we're leaving this meeting, we're all heading to our respective rooms. We instructed everybody to head to their rooms, and they were all like, what's going on? Well, we'll tell you. But everyone went into their rooms and started quarantining. So we voluntarily took that decision to say 6 days in a row, we are going to do a hard quarantine, which means you're in your room. Nobody enters your room to give you towels or give you food or do even housekeeping, cleaning the room, nothing. And the food situation is immediately, we have a wonderful team manager, Wayne Bentley, who swung into action, and he said, listen, this is called knock and drop room service, where in disposable bags and disposable containers, whatever food you order, there's a separate menu. So people just come knock on the door, leave it outside, and then they run away. And only after they leave, you open the door, you pick up your bag, and you eat your food. And so automatically what we did was we isolated everybody, effectively everybody. And then we have been testing daily. And before they go to bed, the testers come to the room door, knock on the door, and there is a bubble integrity manager, as we call him. He's checking temperatures, he's taking the swab samples, and then they go away in the night. By the time everybody wakes up, we have the test results. So, like this morning, the test results all came. Knock on wood, thankfully. Other than, of course, obviously Varun and Sandeep Warrior, everybody else has tested negative. So there's a sigh of relief on everyone's part. But you take it day by day. And what happens is, in the event that somebody is, God forbid, infected, which might manifest in 24, 48, 72 hours, we'll at least find out. And by the time 5 days, 6 days goes by, you know that you have at least eliminated anybody who may have picked up an infection and which might manifest during that period. That's what the doctors say. So we followed that very, very, very tightly. But from a communication standpoint, I organized a Zoom call yesterday and got everyone signed on, because we just wanted to talk and communicate with them why we did it, what we're doing, what's in store in the future. And in fact, SRK also decided to join that call. So it was nice that he joined, and he gave his reassurances to everybody, saying, your health and safety is number one priority. Cricket is fine. That can take a backstage seat right now. We'll figure out. There are, good thinking people who are all behind it, trying to figure out what's the roadmap for this now. So these are some of the things that we've done, Boria. So daily testing and complete quarantining is a must. I can't see how it can be otherwise, because contact tracing, whatever we have studied, we have known, and the experts who are telling us is basically we have no idea who is infected who. So we go to net practice, we go in the bus, we come back, we have meals together in the dining room, all within the bubble. But if there is one person who is infected there now, I'm sure now that you shared the news about Saha, and they would all be, I'm sure he has interacted with everybody there in the team. And so has Balaji yesterday in CSK. So everyone, when you don't know, the only way you can eliminate this is to make sure that everybody quarantines, which is what we've done.
Correct. In fact, from what I hear, there's someone in DC. I know it. I don't want to sort of say it on the show. There's someone in CSK, a very senior person, someone we all respect. So there are people who have tested positive. So Venky, something important at this point, and we have seen cases in the EPL, in La Liga, in other European leagues also, and it's not new. In a league like this, it is pretty much par for the course at this point in time that things will happen. But you've got to be pragmatic and practical about it, like you just said about a reset button and a hard reset button. Question: would you, and you are the chief executive, one of the faces of the Indian Premier League of the Kolkata Knight Riders, would you advocate a 6-day quarantine, a reset, and then restart? Or would you advocate something more drastic? Your thoughts?
It's a tough question. I can tell you, because if you want to if you want to take a graded approach, okay, there's no other option but to reset. The tournament has to be paused. Everyone who is involved in the bubble or continues to intend to be in the bubble will have to absolutely uh, go into quarantine at the least. That's a baseline, in my opinion, today. Now, will that guarantee that we are okay and everything is going to be fine? No, because we did all that. 4 weeks ago we did all this before the tournament started, and we have maintained the integrity of the bubble. Still, something like this has emerged, and so this virus is a very dangerous thing that's going on. Nobody has figured it out. I mean, the experts there, they tell us do this and do that. We're wearing masks and social distance and washing our hands, and even within the bubble. In spite of that, if something like this can happen, not only to our team, it started with KKR, but then from KKR to CSK to Sunrisers to now, as you said, DC, and who knows what else. And if that were the case, and without casting aspersions, we've heard there has been some breakage in this thing, but people have sort of, they said, oh, it's not such an important person, maybe it was a cleaner, maybe it was a whatever, helper, and they've not disclosed that. So the bubble it's not a guarantee, because you are in 6 venues, you're moving around, you're flying. We took chartered flights and we paid extra for a private terminal, and we ensured that the people who are at the private terminal, even who are frisking, and I know I'm boring you with all these details, but even we insisted that we get a negative RT-PCR test, and there and PPE kits, and all this is supposed to be, it is the advice of specialists and scientists who have given us. In spite of that, if something like this were to happen, just a reset right now, restart, doesn't guarantee that this won't happen again. It's almost like that situation that we're in. So therefore what? Now, so the second part of your question, something more drastic. I mean, if you want to be absolutely taking the right type of a call, I think a drastic decision should be discussed for sure. I know there are a lot of other implications of this, but it should be discussed. But at a minimum, what I'm suggesting in terms of the quarantining, I can't see how you can move forward without that.
No, I agree with you. In fact, if you ask me, based on science, I think a reset is the right approach. Maybe the drastic call can wait. It should be graded in the sense, if things get better in the 5-6 day window that the reset will provide you with regular updates and regular sort of checks as to what's going on, then if you have to take a more drastic call, that can be taken at the end of day 6. And if things do improve and you are able to get things under control, which can be the case based on the hard quarantine, then you restart, because you can rejig the schedule in a manner and close out the tournament in 2 weeks. That's what my assumption is. So I would ask you that maybe the reset for 7 days is perhaps a better option than anything more drastic at this point, and then a graded approach. Am I right in saying that? Would you agree that that's a more rational way to look at it?
I would say so. I mean, purely from the standpoint of how do you recalibrate right now with the intention that we complete the tournament, which all of us want to do that, frankly. Then there's no option but to hit the reset button and take a break and a week's break, and everybody quarantines. Now, the logistics of how it goes forward is for the powers to be to decide. And they know the implications better. Obviously, they're talking about having a conversation with all of us. And if that's the case, that's great. We all have ideas and we can put it on the table. And ultimately, you have to see how we can get the best brains and best ideas from everybody. Involve more people, get the best ideas and get some consensus going. We can do all that. I mean, without that, I can't see how we can take that forward. Without a reset, I just can't see it, because we were in a way fortunate that our schedule was such that our next game is on the 8th. Other teams may or may not have that luxury. And then you're sort of tinkering around with, okay, maybe we move the schedule and we do this, and these two teams, nothing has happened, so let them play. All that it just doesn't work. So you almost have to say, okay, press the pause button and let us now take a breather, get into, follow the science, get into the quarantining mode and let's implement that diligently, everyone. And at the end of 7 days, we would have perhaps been able to isolate people who may have potentially been infected. If nobody is, fantastic. It gives greater confidence to everybody. And if they are, there is a protocol around that they'll have to continue until they get two negative RT-PCR tests in quarantine, I mean. So if you find somebody during quarantine who has tested positive, who tests positive, that has to continue. And then you do daily testing. That has to be done, I think. Otherwise, I can't see how we can take any steps forward.
I agree entirely. I agree. And just a couple more questions, Venky. Will you put these? One is okay. Let me ask you about Mumbai, because there was this talk about moving to Mumbai, but as you rightly explained, and again, I have to commend you for advocating science at every level. That even if you move it to Mumbai, the hotel staff or the hospitality industry, which will take care of the bubble, will have to be quarantined first. So the logistic challenges of moving to Mumbai isn't easy either.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it might take longer because you're still, see, nobody there is ready right now. So let's say you're identifying 8 different hotels, and at a minimum, then you have a BCCI group, then you have a broadcaster group. So you're looking at 10, 12 hotels at a minimum. Now, the staff there will all have to be tested. They'll all have to be brought into a bubble. They'll have to be quarantined and go through the same thing that we are doing. That's going to take a longer period. So we might say for the IPL teams, it can be a 7 day. But logistics and common sense suggest that it could be longer because of the time it takes to get everybody sorted from that perspective. And if you're serious about continuing, you'll have to do that. I mean, so it might be a 10, 12 day type of a reset, to be honest. I mean, I'm not an expert in figuring out logistics, but if that is what it is, and then we all enter. See, for example, we are in Ahmedabad right now, and let's assume that this Bombay thing that we've been reading about happens. Now, when do we fly to Bombay? And when we fly to Bombay and we enter that hotel, has the staff already quarantined and ready to serve us? Might not be. So we may have to be sitting here for 10 days until they identify who that group is and they bring them into the bubble. They certify them. So they're saying, we are ready, which is what we did before we came to Ahmedabad, by the way. The staff here, there were 10 days of quarantining that the staff had gone through, and we got all the tests, etc., etc. And that's a nightmare in itself. And only when we were satisfied that they had completed, we landed up. Because when we land here, there are people picking up our luggage. There are people who are servicing us, food and whatnot, room service. They all have to be in the bubble and completely have quarantine. So it's a longer reset than people might think. But anyway, that's for the administrators in IPL to figure out. But we have given all this input and provided it to them to say, this is what it is. Let's figure out together.
Last one, Venky. I mean, obviously, everybody, all players, they are your responsibility, at least part of all your team. What's the mood? I mean, because everyone is very right in feeling scared, very right in feeling apprehensive. Are people willing to be part of the journey, the hard journey of hard quarantine, and be part of the reset and see how it goes? Or anyone is, no, it's time. I really don't want to go through this. It's very understandable if they say so. What's the mood in the camp?
See, I think it's fair to say that there's a lot of nervousness around the camp. And to be honest, until the first case of Varun came in, I'd had conversations. For example, Pat Cummins had told me that he feels safer in this bubble than anywhere else because he's got that kind of trust in the organization and our professionalism and our attention to detail, and how we manage compliance and all the science aspects of it that goes into creating.
Venky, I'm just being told that it will probably be suspended. Can you check once as the CEO as we go live? Can you check with your people? Just check once because
I have a call here, missed call. Just give me a second. I'm going to make that call.
You make the call, put it on mute, and tell me because I've just been told it's been suspended.
Yeah, give me a second.
These are extraordinary times, unnatural times, and as you've seen, Venky Mysore is making the call from what I just got. A flash on my WhatsApp. Uh, I will take some questions, but the flash on my WhatsApp is it will be suspended. Has to be. If you really ask me, I've been saying this on my Twitter thread from yesterday. Check my Twitter thread. They have to take a 6-day reboot or a 7-day reboot minimum, because they have to go into hard quarantine. Everyone goes into hard quarantine. Each player, each person involved or associated. That starts yesterday, has already started day before with KKR, and that is your only way to go forward with this tournament in 7 days time. You cannot play on with cases, and it's public. You guys now know that it's Amit Mishra in Delhi, it's Ridhiman Saha in Sunrisers. I knew all of it about an hour and a half back. You wait for some such news to get confirmed. That's why I got Venky Mysore. Is the best man to tell you all of this in terms of what protocols are being followed. Trisha, is Venky still there? I hope he's there because he was making the call. Can you confirm to me that he's still there? Yeah, Venky?
Yeah, Boria, it's a suspension. I think they've taken a call that they're going to postpone the tournament and look for another window. That's the call that I just got.
So it's suspended interminably. So not a 1, 2 day, 5 day, not
No,
sort of.
no,
So it's a suspension and sort of move to the future. Is that what you're telling me?
that's what I've just been told. I think they're going to announce something shortly.
Okay, so Venky Mysore confirming that. That's what I got also, that IPL has been suspended. IPL has been suspended. Neither of us know the next date yet. We are saying it. Neither of us know how long. But from what he just told us, and again, he will know much better than I do as the chief exec of the Kolkata Knight Riders. This is the correct call, Venky, as we were discussing. This is the correct call at this point in time. There's no
I,
way that you can continue.
I agree with you. I think it's probably the correct call given the circumstances and whatnot. We're all sad about it, obviously, but health and safety and lives of people are of paramount importance. So this is the right call. Hopefully, we'll be able to find another window to regroup and pick up maybe from where we left off. I'm told there'll be a call with all the other logistics to be shared. So that's coming up shortly.
Okay, Venky, thank you very much on that. I finish off this interview thanking you with the news. IPL is suspended. We will keep you updated on every development. Thank you very much, Venky.
Thanks, Purya. Thank you.